introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Meeks. I am a program evaluator and social sciences researcher with experience in the nonprofit sector as well as the federal sector. Most recently, I work for a federal contractor to evaluate several AmeriCorps programs. And unfortunately, I was impacted by recent federal budget cuts, but I am looking to start my own consulting firm to help nonprofits evaluate and develop their programs. Should I pass it on to someone, Shelley?
That'd be great, Emily. Thanks.
Okay, I will pass it on to Linda.
Thanks, Emily, and sorry to hear about that. I was also impacted several months ago from a change in my organization. I also come from an evaluation background, so that's really interesting. I am looking also to form a consulting business after job searching for several months, just seeing how I really love the impact measurement and strategy piece of nonprofit work. And really driving that through like impact investing and community development financing. Of course, also now impacted by the government shutdown. But yeah, looking to see what can I do, what can I bring to the table through a business.
And Linda, where are you located?
Oh, I'm in Denver. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Nice to have you with us. Definitely.
Yes.
Who would you like to pass it to?
Danielle.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so my name is Danielle Leary, and formerly I was a onboarding manager for Broadcom. So I've been in the learning and development more in official capacity for the last 12 years, but I have been instructing for the last 30. And what I'm doing now is trying to get back to my roots. I left my corporate job, and I am now in learning mode. I'm getting my AI consulting certificate, and I am looking to start a consulting business and helping small businesses and solopreneurs integrate AI into their business so that they can save money and time. And I'm in Windsor, Colorado.
Can I ask where that certificate is? What's that through? How did you find out about it?
I'm in 2 certificates right now. Both of them were accidental. It was because I was being more active on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has been beneficial. And one of them is through AI innovation. And then the second one is through Simple Academy. And if you want to connect, I can send you more information through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Danielle. That's great. Magda, are you able to join, and Chris and Tiffany, so that we can see you? And or if not, can you just introduce yourself to the group, since we have a smaller group today? Go ahead, Chris.
I can do it.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Hi. Hi, Shelley. Lisa Carmen invited me. I wanted to be on this call to support Cami and support you. And I've had a consulting business for 22 years now, so I'm really excited for the people who are on this call that are thinking about doing it. Go for it. It's the best decision that I ever made. And I'm really glad you guys are on this call and you can learn from Shelley and Cami on how to do that and be successful. So I'm excited for the possibilities for all of you. And I'm also looking at starting a retreat business, transform their lives. So it's a good time for me since it's been 22 years since I've started a business, and I'm looking at doing a new one to see what I can learn as well by being here from everybody on this call. So thanks for letting me be on here.
Fabulous. Chris.
Hi, good afternoon. I've just been in transition looking for my next opportunity, and I'm a client of Shelley's, and I'm just kind of curious to see exploration about being involved with working for myself at some point in time. um, don't find it something that I really want to do like right now, but if my circumstances don't change, I have to consider it as a pillar. And I'm open ears to the session and seeing how I can learn a few more things about some of the steps that would be required.
Very good. Thank you. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Shelley. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Since the group is somewhat small and intimate, we're just having people introduce themselves and what their interest is, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
We're
You want
having
me to
more
go?
people join, so this is great.
Oh, good. Yeah, I apologize for being late. We got back from New York City late last night, and so in the midst of closing on the new house and getting our house ready to go. So, but I'm very interested in the topic here. I like Chris and many others on the call. I worked with Shelley, and I I left a long career last April, and I've enjoyed the time off. Um, I've interviewed for some full-time roles, and in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, what if I could do something on my own? And once I get through this move, it's a big move. I'd really like to put more thought to that because I'm at a point in my life where I will enjoy the balance, I think, or the flexibility of doing something on my own. So I'm very curious to learn from this call and about what I need to be thinking about. So
Perfect. Jennifer, welcome back. Awesome to have you. Um, we have Magda, George, Maricel on the line as well. Magda, hi. Can you introduce
Hi.
yourself?
Hi, sorry, I can't have my camera on at the moment. I am a coach, so I met Shelly and on a coaching school. So I just we just graduated, so we're really excited about that. And yeah, so I'm just calling in just to see, what new stuff I can learn just to implement um while I go on this like journey of self-employment and stuff. Yeah.
So Magda and I just completed a 6-month coaching certification program, 135 hours. Magda is in California. And I can tell you, she is a rock star. She comes from HR. And so, as you can see, the economy and consumer confidence, and there's a lot of volatility with what's going on with different pieces of the administration and the world economy. So, that's why we are offering this today is when I stepped out of corporate in 2019, I had so much fear around how am I going to get started. I didn't have a business case. My whole background was leading talent at big companies. How do you jump from corporate to being a solopreneur and then scaling? The biggest piece of that is the endurance and the mental fitness aligned with it. There are pieces of consulting, gig work, freelancing, fractional, networking, and how you start to build a product, how you build a business, what's going on out there. So what happened is it was COVID. I started my business in 2019, like fourth quarter. In fact, next month will be 6 years. You'll be seeing lots of celebration around 6 years. I can't even believe it's been that long. Um, it just feels so aligned. But what I have seen with my peers and other entrepreneurs is that if you don't have that alignment and if you don't have the faith over fear, and I don't mean just religious, I mean faith in yourself and faith in what you believe that you have a product or a service or something that is the know, like, and trust that can be monetized and really allow you to lean in to your happy place of what is the world wanting to hear from you now? That's one thing that Cammy's going to talk about today. So I'm sitting in my basement and I was invited to Cammy's Ignite event, which in 2020 was online. And she has these speakers, and she had another career coach who was international experience, just like me, who was her fire dancer. And she grew her business, and it was like, so I cried for 3 days mostly during that, because she was asking me questions about what mark I wanted to make. And I met with her coach on a Saturday morning, and I decided that I needed help. And it was probably one of the best investments I ever made. And I worked with Cami in 2021 and 2022. And I became her fire dancer one of those years because of the growth and the impact and the ability to build the business. And so I'm so happy to bring Cami to you all today. And I know that we didn't get to meet everyone. Please put your information in the chat. I want to turn it over to Cami and just have a conversation about what is it like to start a business. Cami, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shelley. I mean, I love watching what your business has done. It's been so fun to see it grow and expand and all the impact that you're making. So congratulations on everything that you're doing. And I'll tell you, I mean, so you started your business, Shelley, in 2020, right? I started my business in 2008. So, right, or actually 2009 was the actual official start date. So I was in that same sort of a, market downturn. And 2020 was, a very strange year to say the least. And one of the things I really want you to think about is that we're in a strange time right now. And the markets are different. And so you guys are experiencing that. You've experienced it in the job marketplace. And what I'll tell you is that these are actually a great time to start a business. In fact, I'm going to pop up a couple. So I'm going to go in between slides and not having slides. I need to get the sharing turned on so I can show a slide. I'll tell you some companies that started in market downturns. GE started in 1892 during the long depression. IBM started in 1911 during right before the depression. Disney started in 1929, the same year the Great Depression started. HP started in 1939, the end of the Great Depression. Microsoft started in 1975, right after the oil crash of that time. The 2008, so this is kind of that time there. Uber, Slack, Airbnb, Rent the Runway all started during those times. So these types of companies do start during downturn markets. And so I want you to keep that in mind as you're looking at this. So one of the things that I have been, really paying attention to is like, okay, what was happening out in the marketplace? So I went out this summer and spoke with dozens of different entrepreneurs about what was happening in their business. I wanted to know what was working, what wasn't working. And when I sat down to do that, the number one thing I heard, first of all, was things feel different. And my guess is, just looking around the room right now, you guys have been in the job market. You've been, some of you have been in the already building your businesses. Do things feel different? Just do it. Raise your hand. Do you feel like things feel different? Yeah. Yeah. So people are noticing that things feel different. And what I heard from all of these women entrepreneurs, and I work mostly with women, but I think this applies across the board for the men in the room as well, is that we're slowing down and we're listening to different ways of running our businesses. We don't want to go back to the long hours that we once worked in the corporate world. I know when I left the corporate world 17 years ago, that was I was working 80-hour work weeks. And I was like, I am not going to do that in my entrepreneur space. I really want to build businesses that have both time prosperity and wealth prosperity. And so the women that I talked to, is they were really like, where I am slowing down, I'm listening, I'm doing work that's really aligned with my gifts and my talents and everything that I've built along the way. And so I think that's a really important piece, is like all the journey that you guys have taken to this point. You have experiences, you have wisdom, you have strengths, you have skill sets that have taken you to this point in your life. And this place to really start into thinking about opening your own business and starting your own business is a great thing to do. Is like to slow down and say, who am I? What are the strengths of who I am? And what have I done in my lifetime? And look for ways to weave those together. So that's definitely been happening. And I think women that have been in the entrepreneur space are even slowing down more and listening again, saying, okay, what's the most important part of the work that I'm doing here? And what does that look like? So the paradigm shift is slowing down. The other thing that the paradigm shift that's happening is there's a lot of noise out there. You can go out on the social media and you just feel all the noise that is there. And what's happening is that people are looking more for depth from the people. So when you guys are starting to think about your businesses, think about the depth that you can bring, the depth of expertise, I can't even say that today. Depth of expertise, the depth of what you teach. It's like we're looking for the depth of your content. And then how do you manage your own energy? And I think this is a big one. Shelley touched on this already. It's like when we are stepping into starting our business, it's like, how do we take care of ourselves first before we step into serving the people that are around us? So that's another thing that I was seeing happening. I think women want to make a difference, and people want to make a difference, right? People want to make a difference with the work that they're bringing into the world. So when you think about the difference you were able to make in the corporate world and the difference you can make as an entrepreneur, there's a huge shift in being able to make a bigger ripple effect of impact as an entrepreneur. You're going to be able to really make a bigger difference. So think about who you're serving and the impacts that you want to make, and really start to look at it from that perspective, because that's the spark. When you're bringing the spark of you really coming into the world, that's where the impact that you're making, the ripple effect, that's where that change really starts to shift. So what's lighting up the women, and the women that I spoke to were very actually excited about what's been happening in their space. They love the client transformation that they're able to make with their clients. They were finding new clarity in their offers and expanding visibility on their podcasts, on media and stages, and just really creating a better alignment to who they serve. So these are some of the things that we're going to start to look at. How do you do this? And we're going to look at trust as the new currency, because this is a really important piece of being an entrepreneur, is that there is currently a trust deficit out there. People are slower to make decisions. They are slowing down. They've been, they've bought before, they've invested in themselves before. And so women are slow, or people are slower to make decisions. And so audiences are really craving authenticity, safety, and depth. And what I teach the people in my communities is it's not about building a bunch of funnels and things that will take people to you. In fact, I say funnels are out. It's very much about building relationships with your community. So when Shelley started this community, 6 years ago, this was the community was the core of this, because it's about relationships. What she brings to you is all about relationships. So that's some of the things I learned from the research. And I've talked about this, is that in our own energy management is a strategy that we really need to look at. So the next era of growth for entrepreneurs is very focused on simplicity and sustainability. It's about being authentic in your visibility. It's about time prosperity and wealth prosperity. And when I talk about time prosperity, that means white space on your calendar, but it's also about how you are energetically moving between meetings to home to like finding a grounded sense. I often talk about like practicing time prosperity, going to the airport, for example, is a great way to think about when we're going to the airport. We're usually on a timeline, we're rushed, we're trying to get to the gate. But what if you approach going to the airport with plenty of time and moved between gates to the, everything was just at a different pace. That is what I call time prosperity. It's energetically in a different way of doing this. So this is what I want you to, I'm going to be showing you today, building a business that has both time prosperity and wealth prosperity.
Tammy,
Yeah,
can I interrupt you for a minute?
totally. Yeah.
Can you go back to the slide on energy?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
kind of skimmed through that.
Yeah.
For all of you that are out there looking for a role right now, this is one of the main things that we're talking about. And I just did a post today that I was looking for a top level business development leader. And I explained my role as the recruiter. I explained I also am an executive coach. And I stopped the interview and I said, "May I make an observation?" And asking for permission. And I said, "Your energy seems low." And he just went from like robotic and clunky to authentic. He's like, "I hate Zoom calls." So, this energy management, whether you're really serious about starting your own business or just in how you show up for these calls, for informational interviews, for offer, we are going to know, because ultimately you're selling a service, you're selling a product, you are that product. So rest and boundaries and not being everything to everyone all the time and having the ability to say no, this is foundational in everything that you're doing, whether you start a business or not. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that,
Glad you
Cami,
brought
and I
that.
think it's interesting that you have the smartest job seekers are managing their energy as carefully as their strategy. So just dovetailing onto that.
Love that so much, because it is in anything that we're doing, how we are showing up energetically is what either attracts us. And, she's the right person for the job. He's the right person for the job. Or wait a minute, I want this person to help me through, as an entrepreneur. All of that, it's how we vibe, the vibration that we are showing up in is really, really important. So thanks for calling that, Shelley. Okay. So this is what it takes to be an entrepreneur these days. If you are really thinking about what it is that you want to do as an entrepreneur, is first of all, clarity. And that's clarity around a clear market, clarity around how you want to serve. And we'll talk about a simple marketing strategy that's really relationship based versus trying to create fancy funnels and things that I'm going to just turn that all on its head. Persistence. I'll tell you that being an entrepreneur is not a straight line. It's not a straight line. I mean, nothing is. I mean, whether you're looking for a job or whether you're being an entrepreneur, it's not a straight line. I'll tell you, when I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I was pretty convinced I was an executive, and I had been an executive my whole life. And I had people telling me, well, why don't you go be an entrepreneur? And I was like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I mean, this was 18 years ago. I was telling myself, I'm not an entrepreneur. And no road is a straight line. So what's gotten you to this point has not been a straight line. If you go down the pathway of being an entrepreneur, it's not a straight line either. It can be messy, and it can be the most joyous ride that you can ever take. I mean, Tiffany hit on this earlier. It's like, it can be a really amazing gift to get to build and grow your own company, but it takes persistence and willingness to just keep showing up and learning. And I think that learning piece is really big. You're going to be constantly learning something new because you're going to wear so many new hats as an entrepreneur. The next thing is resilience, and that's just that capacity to navigate uncertainty. And this goes right back to what we were just talking about, managing our self-care. So knowing what our mindset is, knowing how we take care of our bodies, how we take care of, I say spirit. So however you spirit, but bringing spirit alongside of us can be really valuable in that resilience. And then community around us can really help with that as well. Curiosity, and that just gets to like, what is it my clients need, my prospects need, and getting out and having lots of conversations with people and listening and hearing what they say and being able to mirror that back to them. Community, having the trusted relationships around you. Courage, it takes a lot of courage to step into building your own business. And support, don't do it alone. Have people around you on that. So those are some things that it takes to be an entrepreneur. It's both an inner and an outer game. So all day long, it's like, listening to what's happening inside and working with that inner messages that are showing up for you, and then breaking through to that. And then what's happening around you, having conversations with the people around you. So I'm going to give you a couple of things today, and I'm going to really do this pretty, I'm not going to go through all of this deck. I'm going to do it much more organically, I think. I want you to start thinking about the company that you'd like to have, that you'd like to create. And these are the pillars that I work with my clients. So vision is very much about the vision and the impact that you want to make. It's about the vision of your life that you want to create. And in order to do those two pieces, it's like the vision, like the big vision, like mission vision kind of work. That's the big impact. What's the ripple effect that you're creating in the world? But that impact in your life, like what kind of a lifestyle do you want to live? And this is a big thing that as entrepreneurs, you get to do this in a different way. When you look at the impact of your life, do you want to work 5 days a week? Do you want to work 4 days a week? You get to define what that looks like. And I think this is a big thing as coming out of the corporate world, is we are so accustomed to the work-life balance that we've created in the corporate world, that when we go to do our businesses, we fall into patterns really easily. So that's one to think about. It's like, how many hours do you want to work per week? And I'll tell you, don't go soft on this, because you do want, it does take a lot of work to build a business. I don't want to say that you can't, 40 hours a week is a good thing, but you can start to say, you know what, I'd really like to have my Fridays off, or I'd really like to be able to, I have clients that have said, I really want to be able to take time with my kids when they graduate. So like be able to think through what's most important to you. So that's the vision. And in order to do vision, you're going to want to really have the right business models, and do the math behind it. And I'll give you some examples around that here in a moment. Voice is about who you're serving. So it's like being able to speak your client's love language. So getting into like, who is it that you serve? What is the client journey that they're on? And how do you speak to them in a way that they are really saying, oh my gosh, that's what I need. And it's also about building your brand from the inside out. So bringing all of your experiences to this date that you've had, who you are at your very essence, and then building a brand from that. So you're weaving together all these pieces of who you are. And I'm big on bringing those life experiences. If you go back and you map the things that you've done in your lifetime, chances are there's some really important things about that makes you very unique in how you serve others. And a thought leadership message is the last part of voice. And the visibility is how you're really creating your marketing ecosystem. That's like how you're attracting clients into your business. So those are what I call the soul plus strategy pillars of prosperity. I'm going to look at vision here. And this is building the life you love, the business you love, and then the mission and vision and impact, so that you really get the big vision of what you want your business to be. So I want you to just say, what's your why? What's your big why that you want to create a business? Just take a moment to you can drop it into the chat if you want, or you can, what's the big why that you'd like to create a business? I'm looking for my chat box. It's gone somewhere.
Flexibility and control of schedules. I want to work on projects I'm interested in and people I enjoy working with on my own terms.
Nice.
Make a bigger impact from my corporate life, to empower women so that they can spread love, joy, and peace in their families, communities. Keep your brain active.
Yeah.
To build a lifestyle business that works for now, allows for more time, prosperity, and freedom, but then also leans into allowing for being a digital nomad. All those reasons.
Yeah, this is good. So, and it's like once you tap into that, it's like you tap into this why. It helps you start to think about, what you're going to do with this. And when you start to build this business you love, what does your business want to be? And then go ahead and and I've got the chat box open here now. What does your business want to be? This is a different frame of that question, right? It's like starting to say, this business is here, this idea is here, the seed is planted, but what does it really want to be? Let's hear from a few of you on that, and just in the chat box as well.
Mine is an inclusive community for holistic change and success.
Nice. I love that, Shelley.
Thank you.
Yeah. I see some typing happening. Some of
And
you
what I
are
want to
like,
let you know too is it takes time
it does.
to unravel corporate and unravel job search and what do they think, and imposter syndrome, and where do I want to go? And it takes time and space. And that's where Cami was talking about that soul piece. It's like, what's the universe telling you?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
it leaning you toward? If the thought of going back to corporate makes you want to like stub your eye out, I get it.
Yeah.
I got a call last week from someone I used to work with, and there's an opportunity as the head of talent for an energy company here in Denver. And I know the past two leaders of talent, not a huge job, not a hard job, but conservative, 5 days a week in office. Not as inclusive. I'm like, no, thank you. And I can't even represent that to others that are not,
Yeah.
that's how they work. But
Yeah.
you kind of learn about yourself. Oh, a learning lab. Cool.
Yeah.
Being inclusive of everyone. With AI, there shouldn't be a digital divide.
And a
Giddy
vehicle of
up.
transformation too, from
I
Tiffany.
love this. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are, I mean, it's like starting to ask these kind of questions. And as Shelley said, it takes time but you can take this question and you can go journal on it for 15 minutes. We don't have time to do that today, but these questions are ones you can go deeper with. And, what's the impact you want to create, right? So then you guys have started to talk about this, it's like this transformation that you want to create, to empower women so that they spread love, joy, and peace. These are all things that you want to do. So think about this. What's the impact you want to create? And when you start to look at it through that lens, you start to say, okay, when you want to create change, I want you to think about, this is not about just working harder, but it's really starting to shift to this time prosperity that we're talking about, right? So in order to do that, one thing you could do, you could create growth. You could throw in a whole bunch of things. You could throw all your tools into the box, and you can say, okay, I'm going to grow my business like this. And when you throw all your tools into the box, guess what? It starts to be a heavy box that you're holding. If you start to think about meeting your clients where they're at, and this is where you're saying, okay, this is where I know my client has this problem, and I want to help them solve this problem. And what's the next step that they're going to have that they might need support and help with? And so you're really starting to ask this, and you're getting really intentional about how you're meeting them along this pathway. So I call this the SMART business model. And it means it's simple. It means there's only a few products. You're not doing like 15, 20 different products. If you're doing 15, 20 different products, you're going to start to feel the heaviness of that box. If you say, this is what the starting point for my client, and I can help them through this, and then I can help them through the next step, and then I can help them through the next step. That's where you're trying to meet them. So keep it simple. Keep it the number of products simple. Keep them the market simple. So know exactly who you want to serve, and ask the question: who is it that you want to serve, and what is it that you deeply understand their market, and then you create this ascending product line that is here. So it's like product 1, product 2, product 3, but it's very simple. And you look for repeatable processes and repeatable marketing that you can bring to your clients. So like those of you looking at the world of AI, what are the tools you can create in AI that keeps your clients on that journey, and you're simplifying that, and it's repeatable. And then you're looking for time prosperity with this. So this is a smart business model. When you're applying this to your business, as you're starting to grow your business, start to think through, what's the offer that I want to create, and how do I serve my clients with that? But don't do a whole bunch of offers. Make it very simple. Does that make sense, everyone?
I can't even tell you how important this is, because as experienced leaders, many of us have, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Even think about this from a job search perspective too. It's simple. I want to do this. I want to solve this problem. I'm going to be a product for this. And then so lessons that you're learning from Cami, you can also apply to your job search as well.
Yeah, totally. Be the specialist and be the expert in that space. I'm going to break this down really quick for you. So I'm going to give you some examples. And I like to tell people don't be the low price offer, because being the low price offer will keep you a broke entrepreneur all day long. So I'm going to give you some math here to work with. Figure out how much you want to generate from your products in a year. And I say high value offer, but just say you want to create, for example, say you want to create $100,000 a year from your products. Figure out how many of those high value offers you need to sell to make that amount. So here's an example. You have a $5,000 offer. It takes 20 sales to get to that $100,000. Figure out how many high value offers you need to sell per month. To sell 20 sales per year, it's under 2 sales per month. So that just starts to give you a pathway, right? And so we're working with a $5,000 offer. And it's important to look at that. It's very doable, that you could go out and you could sell something 2 sales per month. Let's do another example of this. Say you want $300,000 from your offers. Figure out how many you need to sell to make that amount. Say you have a $15,000 offer. Again, we're just talking 20 sales. $15,000 offer times 20 sales, $300,000. So again, we're still talking just 2 sales per month with that example, simply by turning up the dial of what you offer. And so you guys bring incredible experiences. The thing that I see happening most for entrepreneurs is that they undercharge. So think that through. It's like, start to think through, what is it that you offer, and do the math behind it. That's just a simple pathway right there an example that I gave you. But that is what's going to help you create that time prosperity and that wealth prosperity in your business, is by taking the time to look at it through that lens. Does it make sense? Okay. Sorry, I've had a cold this week, so I need to take care of my throat for a second. Now we're going to talk about voice, and I'm going to pay attention to time here, because I want to allow time for questions. You build your brand from the inside out, and you start to learn to speak your client's love language, and then you build a one message for the world, like your thought leadership messaging. So I'm going to skip this part here, because I want to get into this. When you're looking at your customer's journey, you go out and you have conversations with your prospects, and you hear their story, and you get into their story, and you're hearing where they're at right now and what challenges they have, what opportunities they have. And they talk about the desired transformation that they want to have. And then this is how you get to yes to you. When you understand their story, what you can do is you can start to build your sales conversations to serve, you build your offers to serve this journey. Let's start there. You build your offers to serve this journey. You build your marketing and your content to serve this journey. And you build your sales conversations to serve this journey. So who is your ideal client? Just drop that into the chat box. Who would you love to be working with? This is an important question. Small startups, nonprofits in health and education in the DMV. 40+ women in transition who want to transform through travel. Lovely. Social enterprises, community development, nonprofits, solo entrepreneurs, and small businesses. So you have this, once you have that, who's your ideal client? This is a money shot page. Take a picture of this. These are questions that you can go deeper into your client journey on. And if you take a picture of that, I want you to you've got your ideal client, go spend some time really answering these questions so that you can get to like, what's the heart of that you can bring to serve your clients and to help them. If you spend 30 minutes answering these questions about your ideal clients, this will give you so much insight into how you create your offers, into how you create your messaging, and just how do you reach the people? How do you have the sales conversations with your people? So that's a really valuable page for you to did everybody get that? Good?
This
Okay.
page is not only valuable for, you have to think about hiring leaders, recruiters as your client, right? So if
Yeah.
you can answer these questions, what are the roadblocks they're facing? What are their Sunday scaries? What keeps them awake at night? What do they need? This will
Yeah.
really help you in any type of transition that you're in or any professional development that you have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are wanting to build out a, really dive down into your marketing, this is a raise up your brand of you workbook. It will take you through all sorts of exercises to get clarity around your brand. And that's a great tool for you to have. Did y'all get it? Okay. I want to skip this piece as well. So I go into a lot of teachings around your thought leadership messaging. How do you build your thought leadership? I'm not going to talk about that today, just from a time perspective, because I want to give you guys some question time. And then I want to talk about getting into your marketing ecosystem. So once you have clarity around how you are, who you serve, and what it is, what your messaging is, and how you're going to be attracting your clients into your business, what I call speaking your clients' love language. This is getting into the marketing side of things. And when you're looking at marketing, I always say we're throwing out funnels. We're actually building an ecosystem, going back to what we were talking about, the trust factor that's out there in the marketplace right now, and building longer term relationships, building a community that is about relationships. You're going to start at the bottom of this diagram here, because right now, all of you have built relationships through your whole career. So the very first place that you can most likely go find clients is people you already know. So starting to go through and say, if you're starting a business, I would say go sit down and make a list of the 50 people that you have known over the course of your career, and reach out to those people, have conversations with those people. That's a really good place to start, to let people know that you're opening your doors to serving people. So start with the community you already know. And then you can start to look at other people's audiences. So that goes to the top of this one. And when you're looking at other people's audiences, you might be getting out onto stages, you might be podcast guesting, you might be working with paid social or paid PR, but it's other people's audiences that you're tapping into. And the third piece of this is really getting into the educational side of this, and where you're teaching on a regular basis. Maybe you're doing a webinar on a regular basis, those sorts of things. This model becomes the foundation that you build your marketing strategy around. And you don't have to do all these things. You say, okay, I'm going to do one thing here, and one thing here. And you get into a rhythm of doing this. So you build a marketing ecosystem that people, what I call, know, love, and trust you. When people are coming in new, they don't really know who you are, and they're just barely beginning to know you. If you start bringing some of your education to them, they can say, oh my gosh, I love what this person teaches. And they can get in deeper into this pathway of know, love, and trust. And you're starting with the people who already know, love, and trust you, because they've known you for many years. So this is another piece of this that I teach on the visibility side of this. It's like, how do you get visible? Start with the people you know, and then start to open to other people's audiences. So those are the three pillars that I've got for you. It is the vision, the voice, and the visibility. Vision is very much about, creating the right business model and keeping it simple. Voice is very much about building the language that attracts your soul clients into your business. And then visibility is very much about how you're attracting people into your business in your marketing. Through these three different pillars, this is how people come into your world. So with that, I'd love to open up to some questions. What questions? We've covered a lot in the short amount of time. What questions do you guys have? None?
Yeah, I mean, out of all those interviews that you've done recently and this year with all these potential and budding entrepreneurs and those of us that have been in the field a while, what industries, what areas are you seeing that there's a gap in the market for that people are leaning into?
That's a great question. I think the AI space is really, that's a very hot space. You guys are, talking about that. I mean, there's a lot of people wanting to know the AI space. I think consulting can be, you've got to meet the consulting spaces. You've got to really look at how you're serving in the consulting world, from the perspective of, like, for example, DEI was I had clients that were in the DEI consultant space, and they've had to shift their businesses this year because those dollars were drying up in the corporate level. And so they had to shift the language or how they were serving their clients. So look at how you can serve, like going out and having conversations with the people you already know and the companies you already know, and listen to what challenges they're facing, and then how you fit into the mix of that. Looking at the big initiatives that they're driving. I think that's an important part of that. I also think that the wellness side of it, I mean, Tiffany, I think you're hitting on something that area of like helping people stay well, like, physically, mentally well through a lot of noise that's out there. I think that's an important piece of what's happening right now. I think that probably answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay.
Opening it up to the audience.
Yeah.
What's been your most fulfilling experience in reference to kind of doing things from your own business.
Yeah, I would not trade this for anything in the world. I love the work I get to do because I get to see, I mean, I got to see clients like Shelley go do magnificent things, right? And so I love that. It's like the impact that my clients get to go make is really is a lot, is so rewarding. But I also think that just as from a personal perspective, being able to define what I want my life to look like, I don't have to answer to, I don't have to show up at, I had teams on other parts of the world when I used to be in the corporate world. So I'd be up at 5 a.m. Taking calls at 5 a.m. Back in the day. And I don't do that now. I have boundaries. I have a life. I have, I think that's the big piece of it too, is just to be able to personally approach it that way. And there's a lot of satisfaction as well, because I think I'll tell you that the visibility piece for me was I was very good at putting other people on stages back in my corporate day, and having the lead voice. I had a lot of personal growth that I went through that evolved me into someone that I love the stages today. I love taking stages, and that was not me back in the corporate day. I was lifting others up, and so like finding my own journey. And I think that's a big spiritual journey as well, for us, as personal growth journey, if you will, for us being as entrepreneurs.
Emily's wondering if we can briefly mention the logistical steps to start your business on the paperwork or legal side.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's actually really, really simple. You go out to the state and you file your paperwork with the state, and you get you go, then from that paperwork, you go open your bank account. So it's not a lot of paperwork. There's some things that you'll probably want to do. The SBA, I think, is a great resource to go out to, for sure, Shelley. But it's not, you'll be surprised how simple it really is to open a business.
The hard part is knowing the pain points of the clients, monetizing your ideas, having a framework, looking into the product, assessing the financial risk, understanding the taxation of an LLC versus an S corporation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It's been the biggest learning of my life.
Yeah.
You're going to have good years. You're going to have hard years. And balancing the financials, understanding what it takes to get that, having that visibility of putting yourself out there, because there's a lot of really successful introverts. Surrounding yourself with a community of people that are struggling and that you can ask for help with. Like, I had no clue how to run a business, and it's something that evolves all the time. And staying up with the latest and greatest of how is AI affecting that? I could talk all day about this, but what other questions do we have?
Something I talked with,
Go ahead.
something I talked with Charlie about is that there's a lot of unpaid work that goes into it. So, marketing and going to networking events, how do you balance that?
Yeah, I actually calculate that. I mean, I have a tool that I take my clients through. It's a revenue modeling worksheet, and it allocates time for marketing and sales and networking. And so, like, if you're trying to get to that $100,000 mark, there's a tool that I have that you can go through, and I think we even have it as a download now. If you guys want it, drop me a note, and I think we have a download now of that tool where you can actually say, okay, I want to get to 100,000 or whatever that number is, and it will automatically start pulling out time and making space and time for you to do those sorts of things. Linda, your question about being an introvert. I'm an introvert, by the way. And so that was, I mean, I definitely get I find I refuel myself by being by myself, right? And I find there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are introverts. I think that's very common. And I think what's great about us as introverts is we listen really well. And so then you can really meet your clients. It's because you're listening and you're having conversations.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah. 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 And the networking and the social media, you learn those skills alongside of it, right? I mean, you learn to do that. Any other questions?
It's hard to incorporate everything around this in an hour.
Yeah.
We wanted to give you a flavor of what it takes and talk about the real piece of this is not a webinar about here's the step-by-step process. It's
Yeah.
about the soul and the what is your vision and where do you want to go and what is the universe telling you about what's happening in the world and what is your piece of that. And so some of it is that holistic development, like I was talking about, and what I want my community to have is this inclusive, holistic nuggets of development and support wherever you want to lean in. And so, Cami, thank you for spending time with us today.
Oh
I
gosh,
will
yeah.
be at Ignite. I hope that you'll join
Yeah.
us as well.
Come.
I know that Danielle has signed up already. It's just a beautiful group of very vulnerable people who get nuggets and we learn from each other. A beautiful time to spend. Cami, thank you for allowing a $200 discount off of that.
Oh yeah, you
And
bet.
for always, you guys, I can tell you, Cami sends me people, I send her people. That's the network, the know, love, and trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Daniel,
right.
I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On November 5th, we are having another way to own a business. It's through business ownership, through a franchise. It's called the Entrepreneur Source. Looking at that. So what we're really trying to do in our community is bring experts and showing you ways to think about different things. Our hope is that you feel less isolated, much more connected. And if I can be of service to you in any way, you need to pivot your job search or how you're showing up in a business, please let me know, as that's what I do as well. And you have now met one of my business coaches. Can't wait to see all of you soon. Cami, thank you again. I'm glad you're feeling better this week.
Me too. Thanks for that.
Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.